Imagine holding in your hand a gem so brilliant, so storied, so drenched in the blood, ambition, sorrow, and power of millennia, that it seems to hum with the voices of kings, conquerors, colonizers, and of those who claim it still. A stone smaller than a walnut, yet heavy enough to alter destinies, redraw borders, inspire worship, provoke nations. That stone is the Koh-i-Noor, the mountain of light. The story, Koh-i-Noor, a legacy of light, ambition, and controversy. The story of the Koh-i-Noor is part myth, part fact, woven through centuries of war, conquest, devotion, betrayal, and colonialism. To understand it is to understand not just a gemstone, but the shifting power of empires, the cost of war, and the lingering shadows of colonialism. Here is its tale. Origins, from riverbeds and temples. The precise origin of the Koh-i-Noor is shrouded in mystery and legend. Scholars believe it likely emerged from the alluvial diamond deposits in southern India, perhaps in the Golconda region. Some legends tie it to ancient Hindu myths. There are tales connecting it to Krishna, or positing it was part of a sacred gem in temples. Others say it may have been referred to in Sanskrit or even Mesopotamian texts centuries before history books as we now know them. But these early references are indistinct, often conflating different famous diamonds. Over time, the gem passed into the possession of various Indian rulers, Rajas of Malwa, the Delhi Sultanate under Alauddin Khilji in the early 13th century, and through subsequent dynasties. In 1304, for example, Alauddin Khilji is said to have acquired a large and brilliant diamond after defeating the Raja of Malwa. Many historians believe this diamond may have been the Koh-i-Noor.
The Mughal era and shifting hands. By the early 16th century, the diamond enters clearer historical record with the rise of the Mughals. In 1526, after Babur defeated the Lodi dynasty at the First Battle of Panipat, tribute, loot, riches passed into Mughal hands, including what some believe to be this diamond. Whether it was freely given or taken in conquest is part of the ambiguity that has dogged its story. The Mughals ruled splendid courts, and jewels of such power and beauty were not just adornment, they were signs of divine favor, of legitimacy. The Koh-i-Noor, for centuries, was part of the Mughal treasury. It may have adorned thrones, it certainly drew envy. But even in the opulent Mughal courts, it was one among many treasures. Emperors prized rubies, emeralds, spinels, and precious stones of many sorts. Yet the Koh-i-Noor's singular size, brilliance, and its reputation for bringing, as some believed, both glory and curse, elevated its status. Conquest, loot, and Persian Empire. In 1739, a pivotal moment, Nader Shah of Persia invaded Delhi. In the chaos and massacre that accompanied his conquest, he looted the Mughal treasury. Among the most prized of the treasure was the Koh-i-Noor. Some accounts say that when Nader Shah first beheld it, he exclaimed its name, Koh-i-Noor, Mountain of Light. From that moment, the diamond's Persian identity was born in the historical record. After Nader Shah's death, the stone passed through Afghan hands, particularly the Durrani dynasty. Political turmoil, rivalries, exiles, and assassinations followed, always with the stone at the center or on the edges of power.
The Sikh Empire and Maharaja Ranjit Singh. In the early 19th century, the Koh-i-Noor came into the possession of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, founder of the Sikh Empire in Punjab. Around 1813, through intrigue, pressure, or perhaps forced surrender, Shah Shuja Durrani, a member of the Afghan royal line, handed over the diamond to Ranjit Singh in exchange for refuge or protection. Singh treasured it, For him, the stone was more than wealth. It was a symbol of sovereignty, unity, and prestige. Ranjit Singh reportedly kept the diamond in his palace in Lahore, wearing it on his turban, valuing it highly. But when Ranjit Singh died in 1839, the Sikh empire splintered. Internal strife, political intrigue, external pressure from the British East India Company all brewed. This is where colonial power played its hand. After Ranjit Singh's death, the Sikh empire went through a series of weak successors, regions, and political instability. The British East India Company, already expanding across India, saw both a chance and a threat. In 1849, after the Second Anglo-Sikh War, the Treaty of Lahore was signed. One of its terms, the Koh-i-Noor, was to be surrendered to Queen Victoria. The ruler at the time was Duleep Singh, Ranjit Singh's young heir, only about 10 years old, and his mother, Rani Jindan. The surrender was part of a treaty, terms that many argue were coercive given the circumstances. British military strength, colonial pressure, and limited options for the Sikh leadership. Thus, in 1849, the Koh-i-Noor officially became property of the British Crown.
Journey to Britain, criticism, cutting, and coronation jewels. Once part of British possession, the stone's journey continued in new symbolic forms. It was exhibited in the Great Exhibition in London in 1851. The public, expecting a jewel of legendary opulence, were at first disappointed. Its cut was comparatively poor, its brilliance muted. Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, insisted that the gem be recut to the European brilliant style in order to bring out its internal fire and brilliance. In 1852, the diamond was reshaped, losing a considerable part of its weight, so that it would shine more brilliantly under European gem standards, but gaining sparkle. The original weight before this cutting was about 186 to 190 carats, vary slightly depending on source. After cutting, it is about 105.6 carats. Over the decades, the Koh-i-Noor has been mounted in several crowns for various queens and queen consorts: Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and most notably, in 1937, in the crown of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. It also played its solemn last public role in 2002, set atop the coffin of the Queen Mother during her funeral at Westminster Abbey. Myths, curses, and symbolism. Beyond its physical brilliance, much of the Koh-i-Noor's power comes from myth and symbolism. One famous legend holds that the diamond carries a curse. He who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know all its misfortunes. Only God or a woman can wear it with impunity. Because of this, it is said that male British monarchs have avoided wearing it. Stories of suffering attached to its past owners abound: betrayals, losses of thrones, internal family violence, exiles, poverty after power. Historians like William Dalrymple and Anita Anand stress that some of the darker stories are hard to corroborate and may be embellishments, but they contribute to the aura and power of the diamond's mythic status. Ownership disputes and the post-colonial debate. Because of the way the diamond changed hands through conquest, treaty under duress, colonial annexation, it remains a subject of contention. Several countries have claimed it, including India, Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan. The arguments revolve around historical ownership, legitimacy of treaties, colonial power imbalances, and moral claims concerning cultural heritage. India has repeatedly asked for its return, calling the Koh-i-Noor a stolen gem. The British side has defended its possession on various legal, historical grounds, arguing that treaties and transfers were valid under the law at the time, or that the stone was given or surrendered under those treaty terms. One recent decision reflecting the controversy: during the coronation of King Charles III, Buckingham Palace announced that the Koh-i-Noor would not be used in order to avoid diplomatic strain and public debate.
The present, where it stands now. Today, the Koh-i-Noor resides among the British crown jewels, kept under the care of the Crown, specifically in the Tower of London setting, etc., though it is not frequently worn. Its current weight is about 105.6 carats after the recutting. The diamond continues to be a symbol, both dazzling and divisive. For many, especially in India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, it symbolizes colonial wrongs, stolen heritage, a reminder of foreign domination. For many in the UK, it is part of centuries of royal tradition, historical legacy, and the complex tapestry of the empire's history. For historians, it is a case study in how artifacts carry memory, identity, and power. Reflections. What makes Koh-i-Noor more than a diamond? What transforms the Koh-i-Noor from a gem into legend is not simply its weight or sparkle, but what it represents. Power and legitimacy. Many rulers used it to assert divine or sovereign right. Blood and sacrifice, wars, betrayals, exile, imprisonment, all traced in its path. Myth and identity. For different peoples, it is woven into national stories of lost glory, colonial guilt, cultural pride. Colonial legacy. It raises the question, can something taken under colonial rule ever be considered legitimately possessed by the colonizer? What is the role of museums, of national heritage, of restitution? Symbol of gaze and spectacle. When displayed in London, exhibited, used in ceremonies, it's not just a stone, but a public symbol, meant to impress, to tell a story of imperial might. Conclusion: a stone that's never just a stone. Over almost 1,000 years, the Koh-i-Noor has passed through a procession of empires. Indian kings, Mughal emperors, Persian conquerors, Afghan rulers, the Sikh Maharaja, the British crown. Each transfer did not just change who held the gem. It shifted alliances, marked the downfall or rise of dynasties, embedded itself in treaties, wars, and memories. For a United States audience, its story resonates because of similar themes: justice, contested heritage, the lingering effects of colonial history, how power uses objects to assert dominance, how symbols endure far beyond their physical forms. The Mountain of Light is more than a jewel in a crown. It is a prism refracting centuries of human ambition, suffering, artistry, and controversy. Whether it should be returned or how history should judge its journey remains an open question, one that keeps the Koh-i-Noor from ever being merely an artifact in a display case.